Hi, welcome. In this particular video, we'll be talking about binary file. We have already discussed about file and we have seen that how we can open the file, how we can close a file, what are different modes through which we can open the file and all, right? Now, in this video, we'll be talking about one of the file, which is the binary file. So actually, there are two types of files. You have, text file and the binary file. Text file is something which we already know, a lot of us are using it. So regarding binary file, I thought that it could be better if we could have one particular session only on the binary file and also the difference that have a binary file with a text file. Okay, so having said this, let us move on. So what exactly do you mean by binary file? It is not a text file, right? So you have to understand it is a computer file that is which is not a text file. But however, the term that we use, binary file, is often has a meaning like it is not a text file, right? Okay, and this binary file may have many type of formats, okay, and that can be some of the format that can be interpreted as a text itself also, okay. And binary files are thought to be nothing but containing the sequence of bytes. When you talk about bytes, it's not you are talking about you're talking about binary digit itself. Okay, and it is permanent and always available. That is for sure. And as reside in the disk, access time is more. That is because it is a disk from disk to the memory that you need to come up. So normally it will be the access time. So what exactly is a binary file? Binary file is a computer file which is not a text file. Okay, and often the binary file we term as nothing but a non-text file, right? Okay, and there may be many binary file formats, okay, and that can contain some parts which can be also interpreted as text itself, right? And it is nothing but the sequence of bytes. When you talk about bytes, it is the by you are talking about the binary digit. If you see here the diagram itself, you will see this is nothing but we are talking about binary digits, and it is permanent, it is always stored, and it is always available, okay. Yes, and as it resides in the disk, it access time to access it. Having said this, binary file may also contain some headers, okay, and also may contain some metadata. When you talk about metadata, all of us we knowing we are talking about you know uh, it is a data of data, right? Okay, say so having said this, so let us move what exactly the difference between the binary file and the text file. Okay, so I take one particular number, right, 123, and I want to store in the binary file itself, and same I want to store in the text file. So how exactly this is stored? Okay, it's very interesting. If you see now, as I was telling, that binary file is nothing but thought to be a sequence of bytes. Okay, so that means 123 will be represented at nothing but bits itself, right? Binary bits itself. So how can you represent binary 123 in a binary equivalent? If you see, I am talking about here in the 16 digit format, right? So in the 16-digit format, if you see here, so you will get that this is my binary equivalent, right? Because I was telling that binary file, the name itself, right? Binary, right? So we have this in the format of bits, okay, right? Now this 123 in a text file, how it will be stored, right? When you're talking about text file, the most important thing that comes in our mind is the ASCII value, right? When you're talking about a computer. So that means we have a value stored in the text file like 49, 50, 51. Now, what is 49? 49 is the ASCII value of 1. Yes, 49 is the ASCII value of 1. Then 50 is the ASCII value of 2, and 51 is the ASCII value of 3, right? So if you see here as 123, when you are storing, we are storing in a 16-bit format. But here, when you are storing in 123, we have 49, 50, and 50. And so each of this, right, ASCII value, right, will be taking some 8 bits, because 49 will be represented in a 8-bit format. 50 we can be represented in 8-bit format. Okay, 51 also can be written as a 8-bit format. So if I say this particular binary, one storing 123, so it will be stored in 16 byte or in 16 bits, sorry, or in a 2 bytes. However, if you look it in the text file, you will see we equal 24 bits, 8 plus 8 plus 8, or equal to 3 bytes. Somewhere you can see this when you talk about text file, more number of memory is required. The 3 bytes is required, right? So let us extend this example into a bigger number. And if you see the 64331 and 64331, I can represent this 64331 in a binary equivalent of 16-bit, right? Okay, so it will be this. It will be take the binary equivalent, right? So binary equivalent of this. Now here what will happen? Again, it is a text file. So 6 will be having ASCII value 54, 52 for 4. Okay, 3 it will be 51, 51 and 49. So if you see here, now this is 8-bit, this is 8-bit, this is 8-bit, this is 8-bit, and this is 8-bit. So to total, if you see here, we are taking only 16 bits or 2 bytes, but here we are talking about 40 bits or 5 bytes. Okay, and if you take a equivalent of 16 bit, what is the large number that we are talking about is 65,530. So if you want to store till here, so we require only 16 bits or 2 bytes in a binary file. But whenever you talk about text file, if you see when the number is becoming bigger and bigger, so number of bytes that is or bits that is required is increasing, right? Okay, so that's the the difference of binary file and a text file when you're talking about storage. So just you have to remember that when we talk about binary file, it is storing in a binary equivalent, right? Yes, and when you are talking about text file, it is storing in the form of the text and in the ASCII value. And each of this, okay, each of these digits we are representing in the form of ASCII value. So, right. So now move forward. So what is the difference between binary file and text file? You see, binary file is not very easy to read, right? It's not very, because the way the format has been there, okay, it is not very easy to read. But text file you can easily open and you can easily read it. Binary file, when you talk about access, we can randomly access it. But when you talk about text file, it is a sequential access, right? So as we are talking about randomly access, okay, any place and any point of time, I can easily go and alter some or change some kind of things contained into the binary file, but that is not possible in case of a text file, right? So it is faster, okay, and if you can see that storage also, if you see the example, right? But here it is slower. What are the different extension of binary file? We have been, JPEG, M4, MP4, and all this thing. But what is the extension of text file in the form of, CPP, PY, and etc. And even see if you have taken, okay, it is taken as a whole, okay, right, in a binary number. So 123 will be taken as a whole thing. But whenever in a text file, each data will be taken as a character. Here the data will be taken as a whole, right? But here the data will be taken as each data will be taken as a character, right? So the difference is it is easy to read for binary file, randomly access, so I can enter the content and all, right? It is faster, and then we can each of the data will taken as a whole. But in a text file, it is not easier it is easier to sorry it is easier to read, and we can sequentially access the content of the text file. And however, since we are doing sequence, it is not possible to alter it at any particular point of time. It is again slower, and some of the extension like txt, cpp, and all. And here, each data is taken as a character, right? So that what we have seen here, each of this data has been taken as a character, right? So a ASCII value of 64321, where it is represented in the form of a binary equivalent. Okay. So having said this, let's move on. Now, how will you going to open the binary file? I will close the binary file itself. So it's the same thing which we have done in the text file itself. Just you need to understand the part that I have already mentioned during the last session also. So we are talking about escape sequence. So this is how we have to do. So just need to understand this extension, right? If I write text.txt, that means we are talking about text file, right? And this we in text file we are just writing R, but here we are writing RB to denote that this is nothing but we are talking about binary file. And the process is same, right? We have a file pointer, okay, and if the file is found, that FP will be pointing to the first character of the file, right? And if it is not found, then FP will be returned as null. And when if it is null, then we will say that it is unable to open the file, okay. And if it is found, then we say that this particular file exists. And as a result, when you open the file, we need to close the file, and the function to close is fp close, and the argument is nothing but the file pointer that we are passing, right? So the opening and closing, we will use both f open and f close itself. Just we need to remember the file that we are taking should be binary file, and the mode whenever you write, if you're writing read mode, write mode, it has to be RW followed by B, because you're talking about binary. Rest of the thing is the same. That we are using a file pointer and we are checking whether it is null or not, right? It means whether we are able to actually find the file. If you are able to find, then you can go ahead with working on the file. If it is not, then you have to mention that we are not able to open the file. And the closing also it's the same, f close, and we have to give the file pointer itself. Okay, so now let us understand. We have talked about the binary file. Yes, so binary file is nothing. It's a inter file, which is not a text file. It's a binary file. Often has a meaning, like term meaning, like it's a non-text. And we talk about that many binary files having different type of formats and all. And usually it has been stored in the sequence of bytes. That is nothing but the binary digit, and it is decided in the bits. And so you need to access from there, right? And the format different what is extension of binary file, like dot bean, mpg, okay, mp4 and all. So what is the basic difference between a binary file and a text file? We have also seen, right? The binary file are randomly accessed and not easy to read the data, right? Okay, and since we can randomly access any point of time and content, we can do some kind of alterations. It is faster, all right, and the data will be taken as a whole. So we have seen, because we are talking about binary equivalent, it stores in a bytes, right? So 123, we get on an example of 123 and 64331. So the same thing will be stored in the form of 2 bytes itself. However, when you talk about text file, it is usually we are talking about sequential access, easy to read. Okay, we cannot alter it because it's of sequential access and all. It is slower. Okay, extension like CCPP and uh, PY and all these things. And we see that each of the data will be taken as a character, the ASCII value, right? So 123, we are talking about ASCII value, right, of 149, 50, and 51. Right? So that's the basic difference, between the binary file and the text file. And if you want to open a binary file, right, same thing, f open and f close are the two functions. So why, and the same thing that you have to have the file pointer. Only we need to mention that the extension should be binary, right? And whenever you are talking about the mode, we should have the B, right? So we are writing RB means read a binary file, WB means write a binary file, and the rest are same. We need to check whether FP is null or not. If it is null, then we actually not able to open the file. Otherwise, file exists, right? And in order to close also, we need to pass the FP. So I hope in this particular session, I'm able to make you understand what exactly the binary file, okay? And uh, I hope that you have completely understand also how to open and close a binary file itself, okay? So thank you so much for watching my video, and do subscribe and like and share my videos, and do keep watching my videos. Thank you so much.